When someone walks into this bar, I hope they feel the same thing that I felt. This place is different. It's got a 100-year history. It's a true classic northern Wisconsin bar. You've got a bunch of people that come in ATVs and buggies, and you'll have 30, 40, 50 snowmobiles that pull up and park across the way. They come in packs, and it's just like this tidal wave that comes through the doors. Oh, I want a root beer shot, and I want, this shot, and I want this beer, and oh, I just won $50 out of your machine, and it's just chaotic. And then they leave to the next place, and then we have a little bit of a take a breath, and then the next pack of 30 comes, and we do it all over again. People that fish, people that vacation, and the hundreds of resorts that are up in this area that they bring their families, and kids run off to the game room, and then when the parents try to leave, go no. The kids are saying, no, I want to stay. My name is Bruce Hoffman. I grew up in Eau Claire, Wisconsin. Childhood was filled with family of 5, so a crazy house. Most of our times were either watching sports, playing cribbage, and eating. Vacations for the Hoffman family back in the day, around a campfire, getting out on a little canoe boat and paddling and getting thrown in by my brothers. It was really nice back then having those kind of memories, and I think those kind of stuck with me. So after graduating from high school, went to school at the University of Wisconsin-Eau Claire, 4 years. Fortunate enough to run into some good people that kind of saw something in me. A few years later, after spending a couple years at IBM, I got fortunate enough to get recruited by Microsoft, and that's where I was for the last 30 years. So the best buddy from 3rd grade on, when I moved to Wisconsin, David, we grew up together, we played sports together. We have this love of music and sports, and we had always had conversations through the 40, 50 years that we've known each other of like, yeah, maybe one day let's own a bar together. And probably it was, a lot of these talking at the time, and weren't really serious about it until, probably 2018, 2019, where I was kind of winding down, and I've kind of, got a little burned out on the corporate job that I was doing. And I said, yeah, I would like to make a run at this. I'm kind of at that point in my career, like I don't see myself being a corporate guy for the next 5 or 10 years. And we always talked about this. So yeah, let's see if we can make this work. We always kind of talked about, there's got to be always kind of music going. It's in the northern Wisconsin, so it's got to be rustic. It's got to be woodsy. We always kind of wanted to own that bar where people walk in, they immediately feel at ease, feel comfortable. There's banter, and you always just kind of come back to this bar and you just have a good time, because the minute you walk out that door, you're going, I can't wait to come back again. Yeah, so the conversations led to, hey, let's get serious about this. And so David called me up. He did some research and found, probably half a dozen bars up in the kind of the northern Wisconsin area here that was for sale. I flew back from Seattle. We kind of took the old family truckster around from bar to bar and just kind of got the personality. And some of those bars just really spoke to us, like, it could work, it could not work. Like, it didn't really speak to us. And then flew back home to Seattle. About a week or 2 later, David calls me up and going, hey, just stumbled across one more. So back on a plane, I come back to Wisconsin here. We took a drive north from Eau Claire to Hayward, got on these back roads, and I remember vividly, it was in middle of April of 2023. There was still 8 feet of snow on the ground, or some crazy thing like that. We took the kind of the corner up here, up the road on Louie's Landing Road, and I looked across the lake, and there was this feeling that just washed over me going, this is the bar. Without setting foot in the place, without even seeing the bar, without knowing what kind of shape the bar was in or the financials or anything about it, there was just this feeling that just going, this is it. And that feeling was confirmed when we got a chance to speak with Jack, the previous owner, for about 3 hours, and he took us through everything about the bar, the history of the bar. And on the drive back, we both just kind of looked at each other and said, yes, this is the one. I closed my chapter in Seattle, retired from Microsoft, drove across the country with my 2 yellow labs, River and Ruger. And so we opened our doors of Labor Day of 2023. I think when people come and they come into it, they say, boy, love this place. You know, you walk in through that door, there's a bell that, goes off, and, everyone kind of looks going, who's coming in the door? The heart and soul of this place, we'd never change. The DNA of this place is just something special. So when David and I took ownership, we changed the tables. We found a local guy that does fantastic work, and anyone that comes into this bar, that's one thing that they immediately see going, oh, I love the tables. As I mentioned earlier, David and I have just a love and passion for music. So the minute someone walks in here, music is going from the minute that we wake up, open to this bar, to the minute that we close, late in the evening after we kind of clean the place up. We take pride in that we have a lot of beer behind us there, and all different kind of varieties and so forth. And, stuff that we used to drink when we were sneaking beers out of our parents' refrigerators at 14, 15, 16 years old. So you have PBR, you have Old Mill, you have Schlitz and Schmidt, and it's just amazing to us, some of the people that have come here and have sat in these chairs and they look at all these things, and it just opens up a conversation for the next 30, 40 minutes. Oh my God, I can remember this one story back in '81 where I stole an Old Mill, or a case of Old Mill out of my parents' class, and God, we were with Billy, and it's so joyful in here when people kind of connect with that, and it just makes that connection with this place and this bar and with us as new owners very important to us, because we're here for the long haul. But I guess what I'd want people to know about me is I got cut from that Wisconsin cloth. So I'm kind of hopefully humble and down to earth. And yeah, I'm happy to be here. I've got $1 million view out of my office every day. And I hope people can kind of come and appreciate, some of the stuff that we're working on, and find this to be one of their favorite places to go to eat and drink. Because both David and I have never owned a bar. We've never worked in a bar. We've spent a lot of times drinking on the other side of the bar, so we have a little experience that way. Do I have satisfaction of what we've kind of created in a short period of time? Yeah, I have those moments where I can kind of, at the end of the night, still listen to my music, have a Hams while I'm cleaning, and look around and going, whew, yeah, this is pretty cool. I've been guilty of being called a perfectionist. So if there's something that's just not quite right, I have a tendency to make it right and tweak it a little bit. And so there's always that next, whether that's a little improvement or a big improvement. And I take pride in all of those small details that may not be picked up by everyone, but the few people that pick it up, they go, boy, there's someone that really pays attention to the small details, and that means a lot to me. I unfortunately can't take credit for the idea, because there's a good friend out in Seattle that gave me this idea to have Wisconsin's longest picnic table. And if I could ever pull that off on the courtyard and the lawn area that we have, I think that would be pretty damn cool. I would love to make that happen one day.